The following podcast has been found on the Deep Listen server unedited. The participants involved have no memory of the events that have taken place. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, Internet. That's Gino, that Pinguino Greco here, with another exciting episode of Deep Listens. Joining me as always is Pete Busby.
Hi guys, did you realize that Sonic is based off of the animal the hedgehog, and that's a real animal, it's not fictitious.
Also joining me, as always, is the Mistress of Games, M. Palladino.
You know, I don't actually know what M sounds like. Is that a bad thing?
Hello, I'm M.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
Discord report. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. ZP, I will come to your house and cut your face.
Yeah, man.
Just kidding. Ha ha
Said that.
ha. It's me, Braden Arbitrary Water Redacted, the host of Off the Deep End. This isn't Deep Listens. This is its much superior spin-off podcast, Off the Deep End, here to cover another exciting, obscure video game. Chris Zombie Pie Redacted and Adam Borg Master Redacted are also here.
Yes, hello.
And
Video games.
yeah, we're finally gonna cover one of those niche, off-brand video games that we love to talk about. Before we get into that, though, know that you can support us on Patreon for money and get access to the OG Soncast, which should have an episode on the Big O around the time you hear this.
A thing about robots that aired on the Toonami. Now, this is something that the kids are not going to get. There was no Crunchyroll back in the day. You had to watch your anime on the television.
There wasn't even Crunchyroll back when it was a piracy site.
No, if you wanted to go that route, you still had to use Pirate Bay.
Yeah. And you had
LimeWire, baby!
shitty 480i rips.
Kazaa! When I was in middle school, I almost bought Kazaa Premium, but my mom took one look at the website and was like, no.
I was Team Winamp when it came to streaming and downloading my music. Winamp, I know that you're still alive, but goddamn, that old school Winamp player, I remember it fondly. Those of you out there that are likely in their 30s, you remember Winamp.
If you are old and nearing death, this is the first year in a very long time that my spring allergies have really started to mess with me in a bad way. And I hate being old, and I don't know what happened. I don't know why this happened.
See, I got on that hardcore allergy medicine, like the asthma stuff, a few years ago. And
I
haven't given a shit since then. It's great.
I just had some Zyrtec or whatever it's called.
I just, if my nose is plugged, I want it all out. And I usually go with the nuclear option. I get me some Sudafed, and I keep taking it until the nose is gone.
The real Sudafed.
Yeah, the real stuff.
Nose sprays work pretty well.
Those Yeah, you got to get the medicine where you have to sign a waiver promising not to make crystal meth using it. That's the medicine that works. But yeah, I don't know. I think Borg, don't you use a neti pod where you drain your nose
Absolutely
using
not.
hot water?
No. I
Oh.
just use like a nasal spray. I put the medicine up my nose where it
Oh, okay.
belongs.
I've heard mixed opinions about the neti pod. This is real adulting right here.
Don't
Yeah.
do neti pot. You will get a sinus infection.
You will get fucked up saline solution in your sinuses, and it will
Well,
burn.
No, I'm with Borg. I will shoot the medicine in, and sometimes it is a saline based medicine. It's just you don't want to like create an endless stream of it. You just shoot it up there.
Just
We're
shove it up your
basically
nose.
describing douching your nose, but we
Speaking
also
of
talk
shoving
about
it up
video
there,
games.
we're getting very close to our Patreon goal of having to play goddamn Looter Dragon song while the main podcast plays Duke Nukem Forever. You
Borg
too
has
can
been-
facilitate
Yes.
my
Yes.
sadness.
And I've been trying to get ideas for the next few Patreon goals.
Yeah,
There's
so
some
we're
good
currently
Yeah.
Lunar Dragon Song is the number 50 game. We need a 60, 70, 80, and 90 game slot. For those of you that are already in the
Oh, I
Discord,
don't
feel free
know.
to
Once
reach
we get
out
to-
to us.
Once we get, that compounding growth, finally gonna hit that deep listens critical point where we really blow up,
Yeah.
become the number one on Spotify, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, because
Uh,
when I think about platforms that properly compensate the artists and the talents that are on the platform, I think of Spotify.
Hey,
Anyways,
Jeremy, can we pull up that clip?
Yeah.
Just with the joke.
Anyways, I
man,
was just going
that's-
to point out that Braden still has not vetoed Borg's idea of what is our 100 Patreon incentive.
No, I think we said that out loud.
Yeah, I thought that's always been the plan.
We said that out loud. We said
I thought it was a
Y2K.
joke, though. Yeah. Or
Yeek.
to annoy the creator, we call it Yick.
Yeah, no, I'm not against that.
Mm.
I'm not against that. Tell your friends and family to give us money on Patreon, and I'll play the goddamn incel everything
I
I,
would recommend
hate about.
no one stream that game based off of what people have told me what happens if you try to stream that game.
Yeah. I'm very excited for everything I hate about people who love Earthbound and everything I hate about people.
God, we could do a bad Earthbound clone podcast.
The answer is most of them.
So that's when we play Deltarune for this.
Ha 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 ha.
I think the
Aren't
main
you
pod
an
already
edgy
played
edge?
Deltarune.
Okay. Anyways, so video games. Tom
So,
Foolery
yeah.
is to be had.
We're here to discuss a niche small video game that none of you have heard of. It's called Tess v Skyrim.
Is it V? Are you sure it's V? Capital V?
Tessv.
Test. What's a test
Peace
stand for?
V. Skyrim.
Peace v Skyrim.
Skyrim. Is that like what the kids are calling rim jobs these days?
Yeah,
I'm gonna look this up.
young people aren't having sex anymore.
Okay, so
Oh,
it's
right.
from this studio called Bethesda.
Bethesda.
Like
So
a town?
I looked into them. They
Director
made some
Todd Howard.
Terminator games
Mm.
for DOS, and then they started. They made this Ultima Underworld clone
think-
called Tease Arena.
They made like a Wayne Gretzky hockey game too.
Yeah,
They used to
yeah.
make
So,
hockey games.
and yeah, they're one of their directors is a guy named Todd, who I guess the fan base likes to make memes about him because they're
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, Todd making the game better and less buggy."
Okay, so there's a fan base like that's
Yeah,
like
so
this is a niche title, but it does have like a
yeah,
dedicated fan base.
it's like Dwarf Fortress, right?
Oh, okay.
Where it has a small but passionate fan base. I mean, they made 5 of them.
Yeah, I
You
actually
know,
heard of the third one because it was one of those early Xbox games.
yeah. Tis 3, Tis I,
Did you
Moro,
did you find
Morrowind?
did you find out which of these games actually sold the best? Because we played this, I would say maybe this is the more ambitious game that they made,
Yeah.
but I was wondering, like, were some of those earlier games, which were sometimes smaller in scope, did they do well, or was this just like a slow moving, you know,
I mean,
So
you
snowball
from
know,
what
that going
I
down
was
the hill?
so all right, so look, so from what I was able to look up, they did the highlight thing where they would
Mm,
put out a game early on a console lifetime. So like that Tease 3 and Tease 4, even though you might not have heard of them, they came out pretty early on like the Xbox and 360 life cycles. So they're able to get some sales that way.
yeah. Yeah, it's like,
no.
how
So
Xenoblade 2 sold really well because it was an
so
early
so that
Switch game.
that third game is it comes out, it probably doesn't sell as much as say that KOTOR or,
No,
the works of
Oh.
BioWare, but
it doesn't sell as much as Brute Force.
no. Does it sell as much as Blinks, or do you think Blinks actually
I
outsold
mean,
it?
they made 2
Probably.
Blinks games.
Yeah, they only made one Morrowind.
Yeah. So I think, it's one of those things where back in the day video games didn't need as many sales to, keep a company afloat. And unfortunately it seems like TSV Skyrim was the last one. They haven't made a new one in 13 years.
Mm.
I think they're working on like a bad Fallout MMO or something right now.
Yeah, because they were bought by Microsoft at some point, and Microsoft has just been
Um,
having them like just churning away on that terrible Fallout MMO for almost a decade now. It's kind of sad.
I mean, the television show came out, so maybe
yeah.
I think I've heard people say that the numbers went up when the show came out. So I guess that makes sense. But it is weird to see or hear that Bethesda, this very small indie outfit, kind of be given the same treatment as Rare, where, Rare used to make games, and now I think all they do is uh, online multiplayer games like that bug game and the pirate game. That's all that Rare does these days.
Yeah. Yeah, that pirate game.
Oh,
Um,
right, that multiplayer pirate game, right?
yeah, it's called
Thieves at
Black
Sea or
Flag, I
something?
think.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was off the tip of my tongue. I just forgot to say it.
That's not that
But
Bethesda
anyway,
one. Oh, wait,
so
no,
We
that's not the Ubisoft one, right? What's the Ubisoft one? Because
the Ubisoft
I get
one's
them mixed
called
up.
Sea of Thieves.
Oh, okay.
no. Oh, I get that one and Sid Meier's Pirate
Yeah.
mixed up all the time.
Yeah,
They're
the
so
Ubisoft one,
similar.
the quadruple A game, that game's called Sea of Thieves.
Mm. Okay. So we also made a bit of a controversial stance in playing this game. I think we all played this game without any community made modifications to
Yeah.
this game. And
Yeah,
so we
so
got the purest version of Taste v Skyrim. Maybe
yeah,
you can
Yeah.
talk about that, Braden.
so it's the first game was an Ultima Underworld clone.
Mm.
And so it's a first person RPG with kind of actiony elements, kind of open worldy, like a Gothic or something. And it takes place in this, they clearly have their lore Bibles, because it starts with you as a prisoner on a cart, and you're there with a bunch of Viking guys. Uh,
A lot of voice acting for a small indie game. I was kind of
Yeah,
surprised by that.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll say they did pretty well with that. Having
yeah.
consistent voice acting throughout. Like
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell they put a lot of time and effort into this because this was in like development for like 5 years or something, right?
Yeah. They
It's a
have
real passion project.
yeah.
Seems like.
So it being a smaller game, the skill system is pretty simple. You basically just pick your race, and then the more you use a skill, the more it improves, and that increases, gives you perk points. It's all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah, it's good to see a Western game using the Kawazu, like you're leveling as you use certain
I
attributes
definitely did
system.
get some Romancing Saga and Final Fantasy II vibes. The use disuse Lamarckist systems of yore. And yeah, it's a really in-depth system with a lot of variety. You're making all sorts of different
yeah, you can
character
like make a
classes.
stealth archer build if you want.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So
Because I didn't use a stealth that much in what I played of it.
Well,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I guess
yeah, go ahead.
to take a step back, Braden, the way that it manifests, the way that you build up skills, it's a constellation system, color coded, with red, blue, green. Red being like your melee sword and board character types, green being your rogue, and blue being your mage stuff. And you get points or gain or accrue points and level ups to spend those points by just doing things out in the open. So if you want to shoot an arrow like 5 times, you get points eventually to level up by shooting your arrows. And if you um, hit people with a sword real good, you eventually will get the points to spend even more to be better at shooting or hitting people on the head with a sword.
And it seems
We have a
like
tech
this
tree
like
system.
yeah, like the tech tree. I think it seems like it requires you to have certain levels of whatever skill that is in order to unlock the new abilities in the tech tree. And there's a bunch of them too.
Yeah, like,
Like
a
especially
lot
around
of the perks
magic.
are pretty simple. It's just like, oh, you do 20% more damage with one-handed weapons. But sometimes it's like, if you do a power attack with this weapon, it'll paralyze an enemy. And I think, it's really cool that, a game from a small dev like this, it's a little simple, it's a little straightforward, but it makes sense when you consider the size of the development team and the ambition here. It's
And
it's not the most
going
exciting skill system, but I think it's really cool that they tried to combine, a perk-based system with the Akitoshi Kawazu style Lamarckist leveling system.
though I do have one issue with that because there are a lot of branches on the tech tree. There's a lot of skill disciplines, and at least in what I played the game, I didn't touch most of those. Like, there's how many different kinds of magic? Because you have like
Oh
you
man, you're
shoot
right.
fire or
There are a
ice or
lot of
whatever.
different schools. And then you have those
Yeah.
temporary spells that you get by just really had a lot of fun just running after all of those statues that had those one-time spells that you can use on cooldowns or
Oh yeah, and there's also
timers.
like the scrolls that are one use that when you like
Yeah,
preview
Yeah,
spells.
those two.
and
Just
yeah,
love.
there's
Yeah. So a
there's that
lot of different
extra
spells.
dragon magic.
Oh, there's that whole dragon thing, which you have to get like a few hours into the game to really get into the dragon stuff. But like, there's that Fusro Da. I think it was Fusro Da, right?
Who's Roda?
Fusaro.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
dragon talk for I'm gonna shoot my voice powers at you and kill
Yeah.
you.
yeah. So there's like a whole separate kind of like word magic there, which is neat. But it seems like it takes a long time for that to unfold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a game that has a slow burn. It doesn't just lay out everything all at once. You actually have to earn things by hard work, perseverance, and patience. Something that I think a lot of RPGs today don't do anymore. They're just these kind of brainless, smashy smash, button masher games.
Yeah.
This game avoids that by really just forcing you to think about your choices, and all of these choices being like genuinely divergent play style
Yeah.
in the game.
Yeah, and it's an action RPG, and you can tell it's from a different era because there's not really that much of a parry system
Hmm.
involved. You don't roll.
No
No.
invincibility frames. I was reminded of that time when you didn't have invincibility frames
Yeah,
a
you
lot.
like you can block. You know, you hit the enemy and it doesn't really stagger them, so you just want to keep hitting them, but you can block. Um, I just wouldn't recommend it. It didn't seem as good as my stealth archer build.
Mm.
Okay, because I was trying to go for like a, battle mage thing,
Okay.
like shield and magic, and I was
I
getting mixed
yeah.
results with that.
I was
So,
looking into some of this, and I guess the magic isn't very good. That's what, like the small community around this game seems to say.
oh really?
But it is a cool
Yeah.
effect. Like you shoot that fire out of your hand, and it's just like
Yeah.
you're shooting it,
Yeah,
and
you
everything
got
gets on
it's like a little
fire. It's
flamethrower, but I
cool.
guess it just doesn't it just doesn't scale very well. I don't know, like the people who play this game very passionate, a little bit scary. That's why it has like this small dedicated modding scene. It's kind of like, the Stalker modding scene where, the people have accomplished a lot of crazy stuff for such a small weird game.
Hmm.
Oh, before we move on from the magic system, did either of you figure out what the soul gems are used for? Because that whole
No.
thing seemed
So
like
I
obscure.
heard that you have to like capture souls so as that you can use enchanted items. I would not
Oh,
I
it's
want to
item
say like
enchantment.
I want to say
Oh,
there was like a 12-part guide. This is something that if you were to make the next Tease game, I would probably make this like a two-step process at best. But there's like 12 steps in terms of capturing an enemy's soul and then transferring it into a gem, and then that powers up your enchanted weapons. But it's a very complicated, very obtuse, hard to follow process that just, this is like one of the black marks against the game because it's this entire combat system that just doesn't open up to you, and it's just immediately unwelcoming to new players like us.
uh, yeah, because and there's like what 3, 4, 5 crafting systems in the game. I wasn't
Yeah.
able to keep up with any of it. And you're just collecting like just random materials everywhere, no idea what they
Yeah.
do. And it seems like it just throws you into like after that pretty good tutorial sequence. There's a dragon, there's like a bunch of voice characters. It's a whole nice intro sequence. Just kind of like throws you out into the world. It's like, hey, here's like 5 crafting systems. Here's 20 kinds of magic or whatever. Here's a map, and yeah, this guy says to go to this town, but no, I did because what do you
Yeah.
do? Just wander off into the forest?
I mean, yeah, it reminded me a lot of Gothic. There's
Mm.
kind of an American Eurojank aspect to it where you can try and run off, but if you do, you'll get your ass kicked.
Yeah. I mean, it's very easy to die in this game. I got constant game overs. It is very difficult. It doesn't make you feel like you're living out this power fantasy the minute that you boot it up. You really, really have to complete like a solid third of this game before you aren't getting your ass kicked, similar to, as you said, Braden Gothic.
Okay, so this is in the realm of like a gothic like.
Hmm.
Along with like what the two worlds or risen
Yeah,
maybe.
I
Like
mean,
it's
yeah,
in
this
this
this came out
vein.
around the same time as Two Worlds 2, which was a more successful game.
I'd say
You
worst
know,
game personally, just from my own experience.
but they were releasing Two Worlds 2 expansions all the way through like 2019.
Yeah,
Whereas,
they were.
they've done a couple re-releases of this, just some small re-releases for the fans. Um, but they've never had gotten enough money to make a sequel.
Yeah, it's sad to hear, but
Yeah.
you know,
but I mean, like this whole kind of like gothic like genre did get killed off when the Souls likes
Yeah.
took off because
Yeah.
Dark Souls was the same year as the Skyrim thing.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
So
And
that's like so this is like an interesting turning point because also like Dragon Age 2 I looked up
yeah,
was this year, like a real dark year for Western ARPGs.
yeah,
Uh, so this is like 2011 was like an inflection point away from like the Western style ARPG, which this is kind of like almost the epitome of the Gothic like subgenre, and into more of like the Japanese style like Souls like ARPGs. So this is kind of like the end of an era we're looking at here.
yeah. There haven't been a ton of Gothic likes since then. Yeah, it's been like 13 years and there hasn't been a lot of Gothic likes outside of,
It's
Piranha
like
Bytes RIP.
yeah, because like Risen 3 was
Spiders isn't
bad.
even making games like this anymore. Like, but that's just the only last torchbearer we have to an entire crease of like
Yeah,
Eurojank,
and they're
American
just
jank.
stuck, and I guess people like that Fallout MMO, but uh, you know,
It doesn't really scratch the same itch, though. I mean, it's
no.
just a completely different thing. I don't expect it to be anything that it's not, but
Yeah.
it's like,
I I like it when a game has a mountain and I see that mountain and then I can go there.
mm. Although
And
you have to kind of sometimes hop up and down. It's very
yeah.
difficult getting up the mountain
Yeah, the
sometimes.
physics are
But
a little janky, once again, American Euro jank.
So should we get into that? Just the
Yeah.
jank of it,
yeah,
because just in like the few hours I played, there was some like broken quest design. There was some weird
Yeah.
NPC behavior. It just all felt kind of unfinished, which you can tell it's like a small passion project. They probably didn't have the ability to really QA it as much as they needed to
No.
for just all the everything they wanted to have going on. So there's be weird like NPCs getting into random battles because it's I guess emergent gameplay, but not done that well.
No.
Like you need to go to a shop, but it's closed for no reason, and it just doesn't open. Have to like fast travel somewhere else, walk back into town, and then oh hey, the shop's where it should be. Then you have to like reset towns with fast
Yeah,
travel
like there's a
sometimes.
timer system. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's like a whole day night cycle thing, and you have like a clockwork stuff with the NPCs, but like it breaks a lot. So the so there's a lot of side quests you can get. I stumbled into a bunch of side quests, but like some of them break because of the day night cycle being weird and just the NPC behavior just not really gelling that much. There's
Yeah.
like it's a bit too emergent outside of towns with enemies and random NPCs just getting into fights. It has a weird feeling of they want to make a living, breathing world, but it's just constantly breaking in little ways. So it's like an almost uncanny feeling, which might be why the series never really took off.
Yeah.
yeah. But at the same time, I feel like this is why we're so lucky to have a studio like Obsidian be able to make these larger, even bigger worlds with even more dialogue and more character interactions and more radiant gameplay without
Yeah.
as many busted elements or the jank.
Yeah.
Those
Like
Obsidian open world
the Outer
games.
Worlds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The Outer Worlds seems like it takes a couple of ideas from this game because they're some of the people at Obsidian they like weird niche games.
I mean,
mhm.
Obsidian, they spearheaded the CRPG revival,
Yeah.
years ago.
Sure,
So,
you could do
this kind
that.
of
You
thing they
could
would
say
do.
that. But other than them, there's really not a lot else. It's weird. We used the term when we were
Yeah.
playing Wizards and Warriors, evolutionary dead end. It really does feel like this TIS game,
Yeah.
Skyrim in particular, is like this evolutionary dead end. Like no
Yeah,
one truly has done anything like this.
No, if you want, I guess, reading some stuff fans have like filled a house full of cheese wheels, and it's like, oh, I can
Huh.
see how, like the game's really ugly, and some of the writing feels very amateurish.
But there's a lot of writing too.
And
And
yeah, there's a
so,
lot of
should we
writing.
get into that?
Oh
because
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
there's a bunch of
Sure.
books. Like I found some books you could read. Like there's a bunch of voice dialogue, bunch of quests. The overall story, I'm not really sure about it. It's like you have these Viking people. There's a civil war. There's dragons showing up. It's like a lot of threads, and I don't know how well it fits
Yeah.
together necessarily.
Yeah. And
So,
yeah, like the writing doesn't seem great, but there's so much of it that you can kind of excuse it. There's a lot of fun stuff there.
yeah, like
And
quantity has a quality all its own.
yeah,
It's a famous saying.
like you can see how they went from this to that Fallout MMO.
Mm, yeah, I can see that now.
Like,
Now that you
yeah,
pointed it out.
Because it's just
and
content. Like if you can just make a bunch of content,
yeah,
then you can make an MMO pretty easily, you'd think.
Hmm.
yeah,
But
But like
yeah,
none of the
some of the
characters
books are really
resonated.
well written, though, as you mentioned, Borg. Like these books just have pages upon pages, and they all provide these different like points of introspection about how involved and detailed oriented this world is.
Yeah, like all the different races seem to have stuff between each other. There's a history. The elves suck, I guess. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
gods, but like there's supposed to be like 8+1 gods, and that's a
yeah.
point of contention. It seems like.
Yeah, there's some real world building going on. And not all of that is reflected in the game itself, but it's clear that someone had a world Bible that they really cared about.
Hmm.
You can also tell that this is like a game from 13 years ago because by default you have to fiddle with some INI files to get the resolution above 1080. You got the FOV is 65 by default.
So
Mm,
would you say this is
yeah.
better or worse looking than like Dragon Age 2, which is a
I'd say it's
Oh
worse. It's just
boy.
really muddy looking.
okay.
And also, there's just that it's a very dark game. There's not a lot of light or light bloom. I really feel like, if there was more better lighting, I would feel less annoyed by how dark this game gets, especially in the exterior environments. Um,
And those interiors too, because it's mostly like caves and dungeons and stuff.
yeah,
So
it
not a lot
feels
of
like it
lighting
has the
there.
same problem as Dragon Age 2, where the dungeon design is just really repetitious and
Yeah.
there's not as much variety to the e- environments as you'd think. Just
Yeah.
not a lot there.
And it's 2012, so all video games are a little bit brown and gray.
Mm.
Yeah, this is like Gears 3 year as well,
Yeah.
if I seem to recall. And yeah, like so there's a lot of systems, there's a lot of writing. The world's pretty big. I didn't make it too far. Did either one of you make it to any of the faction capitals or like that
I
like that mage
I got to a
guild
couple,
area?
but I wasn't able to visit all of the towns. It's just a very slow process. It requires a lot of effort to like really move around in this world.
yeah.
I
So
would have
like,
appreciated a fast travel system, to be honest, now that I look back at it.
Yeah.
oh, I think you can fast travel from the map.
You could fast travel
What?
with the carts.
The carts? Oh, because
Oh,
Yeah.
the
I was going
cards?
to the map and just like
Okay.
clicking on things.
I can
I think
try
the
and
map
check that
does have some
out.
fast travel. I know it seems kind of
I wouldn't
janky.
expect a seamless, easy, immediately rewarding system like that. Something that's just like instantaneously accessible like that in this Tease franchise. But okay, I can double check that. I retract my statement.
I mean, maybe I was doing something weird, like unlocked something, but
Uh,
I was able to go
Yeah,
from like
maybe
that
you can
starting
unlock fast
village
travel.
to
mm,
like that standing stone you get like after the tutorial. I was able to like fast travel between those two, and
Mm.
like
okay.
maybe it's a proximity thing. I don't know, but I mean, if that is the case, that's better than like Dragon's Dogma.
Oh,
You know?
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. There's a lot in this thing. It's almost like a single player MMO, which is neat.
Mm. That's a good way to put it. It's a single player MMO. I guess this is what inspired them to create that Fallout MMO because they took a lot of the lessons here and applied it to that game.
Yeah, so you take like that gothic like genre framework, you put an MMO amount of content in there, and you probably lose a bunch of time in this thing if you wanted to. I think that hardcore community around it put in like way too much time into this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I can understand why this would be something that someone would lose hundreds of hours into. I just think it's a little too janky for me, honestly. I'm not a big fan of games that have a lot of jank in them.
It's also like too much friction for you too, right?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
very friction heavy
it's
game.
the subsystems, they're a little too fiddly. They're a little too involved.
What does the word fiddly
The
mean? You've been saying it a lot.
oh
I'm not
yeah.
familiar with that term.
They're a little too involved.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, and
I
the
understand now.
UI is really bad. That's the other
Yeah,
thing is like the
doesn't
UI,
help.
they didn't know what they were doing with the UI. It feels like a placeholder, honestly.
Yeah, it's just not seamless enough. It takes forever to load. You can't bop in and out of that, especially like that constellation leveling system very quickly or easily. And you just don't know what you're looking at. I really do recommend like going to game FAQs to look up how to like actually level up your characters because it's not at all overwhelming. I mean, I feel like something like Path of Exile is just a better, more seamless, more user friendly leveling system than this.
And so I will say, even though there's all these moving parts that don't fit together that well, there is like some charm to it. Like I can see the appeal, and
Yeah, yeah.
like if it's like going back and playing Dragon Age 2 or this, I might want to put a few more hours into this because it seems like I'd get more out of it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a good way to put it. I think I agree overall. I don't know how much more I want to play of it.
yeah. I don't know how much more of it I wanted to play.
It
The
feels really hard, like especially even as you get these like new spells, they just don't scale all that well where everything that's later gained just doesn't feel like it's making you stronger. You still feel very weak.
Well, I mean, I guess they wanted to have all the fights have like a tactical,
yeah,
feel to them. Like you have to think through all these encounters every time. But doing that in such a big world, like that can get tiring after a bit since you're thinking
Yeah.
through such similar encounters. I know maybe there's more to it, or like maybe there's like a second map in this thing or something.
yeah.
Mm.
Because I know
there
there was
could
some.
be like more going on here that just unfolds 50 hours in, but like what but you have to put those 50 hours into it, and
Mm.
maybe the quest goes somewhere. I mean, it doesn't seem like it,
Maybe.
but it's content.
Yeah, you know, um, they
Who's to
definitely have a.
say?
Yeah, who's to say? It's kind of like when we played Arcanum,
Mm.
where it's a game with
Yeah.
a lot of really ambitious ideas, but maybe just not the resources or team size to really fully
I think it was a
manage
really
them.
quick production where they only had like 9 or 10 months to make this game, and it came out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
So
so wait, what were they doing between test 4 and this though? I tried checking their
I
timeline,
don't know. I
and
think that this might be a studio that's
They
been,
might have done some support work.
yeah,
oh,
support work
okay.
on that Call of Duty when
They
they
helped work
joined
on Fallout
Microsoft.
New Vegas, I think.
Oh, that was
Oh,
them. I can
right.
see that actually.
Yeah, like they helped Obsidian make Fallout New Vegas.
Okay. All right, yeah, yeah. What? Yeah, because this is kind of like Fallout New Vegas with guns. Oh, I mean, with swords instead of guns. Okay, yeah,
Mm.
it's coming together now. Actually,
Yeah. Yeah, it's New Vegas with swords.
All right.
And
So
Yeah, do we want to rank this?
I don't know. Does it feel appropriate to rank this game? Like, we didn't finish this game. I
No,
personally
and
feel like
we
we have to
always
finish
finish games when
games.
we rank them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we do a lot for our audience.
I finished NBA 2K16, a Spike Lee joint.
Mm-hmm. And that was a time commitment
Yeah,
in the hundreds of hours because you really
yeah.
had to get all of your points.
My caveman needed to dunk.
Mm-hmm. He sure did.
So yeah, maybe we just don't rank this one.
Who is this for, though, gents? Like, who would we
Um,
recommend this game for?
if you're like one of those people who really likes Dominions 5, like, or
Like if you're into the Risen series, you
yeah,
probably
like if
this.
you
The
like
Risen series.
Risen and Gothic, if you're a big Gothic like fan and haven't tried this seems like a really neat, maybe flawed one of those.
Mm-hmm. But you would agree that this game is derivative of other works, though,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean, yeah, they've been copying other games, I guess, for the entire series, but it's just one of those niche games that it has its audience, and that audience loves it.
Just hard to get it. It's not on a lot of platforms. The Steam
No.
release hasn't been really updated all that well. I just
No.
wonder if it's how would one go about trying to find a TS5
the
Skyrim
Ooh,
copy?
probably
or
just
you
play it?
get the PC version, and you have to mess with some stuff to get it running on modern PCs.
Yeah, because I tried emulating it for both PS3 and 360 emulation, and it's no,
Yeah,
shouldn't do that.
it
Does not
it
go great.
really, yeah,
Or I
it's
guess
a
just like track down a physical copy if you can.
yeah.
I don't know how much it costs. I mean, because Obscure has no interest in it, so who knows what the price would be.
Mm.
Yeah.
But they have to dig out your 360. Or is there backwards compatible for this? We'll have to check
I
that.
don't know.
Doesn't seem like this would be a backwards compatible thing. Like,
Yeah, it's a
no one
little too
really
much
is
of a weirdo game, I
thinking
think, to
about
be
it.
back compat.
Yeah, so to take out your PS3 and find a copy, or
Yeah.
Steam, just Steam. You can figure it out because I mean, if you're able to do everything you need to do to get Jade Empire running off of the Steam version, then you can get this running.
Yeah.
Man, now I really want to play Jade Empire.
Yeah, I'm always thinking about how much I love Jade Empire.
All right, any final words about this game? I mean, it's a unusual experiment. It kind of lives in its own little microcosm. It's worth checking out for those of you that like Eurojank.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the top of one's priority list. It's hard to find. It's gonna take some work to get running, but it's out there. It's definitely
Yeah, it's out
out there.
We played it unmodded because we wanted the developers experience, but I understand the mods are pretty good.
It might fix a bunch of the bugs, which
Yeah. It is very buggy.
so yeah, so just
think
follow the
that's-
community guides.
Yeah, just follow the community guides. It's like following a subreddit for a thing that you haven't heard about before. Like how do I get into Fate Stay Night? And you kind of have to follow some of those guides for people. How do you get into TSV Skyrim?
But it's to be expected, though. I mean,
yeah. But people should check it out. It's a cool game. I don't know if I want to play more of it.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. I don't know how you feel, Borgmaster.
Oh, hello. Oh, yeah. Sorry, my mic went weird there. Yeah, I mean, I could play more. I probably won't because I have things to do. But if I didn't have things to do, maybe I could dig into it a bit, or Or go watch like a YouTube video essay of someone who put $300 into it, and they can just explain it
Yeah.
all to you.
Yeah, we're also playing Legend of Legaia, and I just think that game's a lot more interesting.
Don't you know it?
Yeah.
But check it out if you've got the time.
Yeah.
It's out there.
It's out there. Yeah, so yeah, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks Chris and Adam.
Oh, what's the
Yeah.
next game?
Oh, the next game well, that we'll leave that for a secret.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, I was withholding eating during this entire thing. As you guys know, I never eat during the podcast, but I really need
No.
us to wrap up so that I can have a meal right about now.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Bye everybody.
Bye everyone. Remember that any sort of cheating in a single player game is tantamount to treason.
No, don't do it. It's not
Yeah,
worth
don't
it.
do it.
It's a crime. You will go.
Yeah,
You're depriving
no.
yourself of the true artistic intent of the video game.
You
by
cheated
cheating.
not only the game, you also cheated yourself. You didn't grow, you didn't improve. You didn't learn anything, and it's sad you don't know the difference. And thanks Super Sex 420 on Bandcamp, and we'll see you all next week with another well, maybe a more popular game. Thinking maybe The Last Story, or maybe some Dojin Japanese RPGs, or like some weird Chinese stuff from the 90s. Easier stuff to get a hold of.
Okay, so we're gonna go with my idea of trying to do like that Final Fantasy VII, that weird Japan only series.
Yeah.
No one really knows about that or is talking about that right now.
No. These Japanese series that have like a bunch of installments and never come out over here.
Yeah, you want to talk about like an evolutionary dead end? We could talk about the Persona series from that list.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
All
they
right.
keep trying with it too. But
And
anyway,
keep trying. All right. Thanks everyone. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.